I'm Laura Bennett, a 37-year-old professor who stepped into a gala last week, expecting a night of celebration for my work in sustainable energy research. It was the kind of moment you dream about. Recognition for years of grinding, proof I'd made something of myself. But fate had other plans. In a quiet restroom, I came face to face with my mother, a woman I hadn't seen in 15 years, her cool gaze slicing through me like I was still the teenager she'd cast out. That night wasn't just about an award. It was about facing the family, who rejected me, standing tall against their dismissal, and rewriting my story on my own terms. This is a tale of betrayal, resilience, and a redemption so sweet it'll leave you cheering. Stay with me, because if you've ever fought to prove you're enough, this one's for you. At 19, I walked out of my parents' gleaming estate with nothing but a duffel bag and a heart bruised by their rejection. Growing up as the only child of Richard and Diane Bennett was like living under a spotlight that burned. Dad was the CEO of TerraGrow, a powerhouse in agricultural tech, and Mom was his perfect partner, always polished, always performing for their elite circle. They expected me to be their trophy, top grades, prestigious college, a seamless addition to their legacy. But I wasn't built for their mold. High school hit me hard. Depression crept in, a heavy fog I couldn't shake. When I tried to tell Mom, her response was sharp. What do you have to be sad about? You've got everything. Dad saw my struggles as weakness, a blemish on their flawless image. By my junior year, my grades were slipping, and senior year was a fight to just show up. When I only got into a community college, Dad's anger was a force of nature. We have standards, he roared, pacing their marble-floored living room as I clutched my acceptance letter, trembling. You've shamed us. If you want to throw your life away, do it somewhere else. That night, they kicked me out. Mom sat on the couch, flipping through a magazine, not even glancing my way. Dad stormed to his office, his verdict final. I felt like a ghost, erased from their world. The door closed behind me, and the silence was deafening. I spent weeks on a friend's couch piecing together a plan. Community college wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. I enrolled, got a job, at a coffee shop, and worked brutal shifts to pay for classes and a cramped studio apartment. The grind was relentless, studying until dawn, serving lattes by day, but being free from their judgment lit a spark. I chose sustainable energy as my major, drawn to its promise of impact, a way to build a better world. It wasn't just about grades. It was about proving to myself I wasn't the failure they'd branded me. That first year was a blur of exhaustion and small victories. My high school prep was shaky, and I felt out of my depth, but without their shadow, I could breathe. I'll never forget my first exam in renewable energy systems. I'd studied for weeks, poring over solar panel designs and wind turbine mechanics until my eyes ached. When the professor slid my test back, I braced for the worst, then saw it. 89%. Not perfect, but mine. I hid a grin, clutching that paper like a lifeline. It was the first brick in rebuilding who I was. Community college became my proving ground. I earned my associate's degree and transferred to a 4-year university, still juggling jobs to stay afloat. Sustainable energy wasn't just a subject, it was my purpose, a way to create change. I landed internships at green tech startups, soaking up knowledge that opened doors. By graduation, I wasn't the scared kid who'd left home. I was a woman who'd clawed her way up, degree in hand, ready to make a mark. Graduation should have been a high, but my parents' absence cut deep. No call, no card, nothing. Their silence screamed I was still invisible to them. The only family there was Aunt Maggie, Mom's free-spirited sister, shunned by my parents for her unconventional life. She stood in the crowd, waving a homemade sign, "Laura rocks." After the ceremony, she handed me sunflowers, her hug warm and fierce. "You're a badass, kid," she said. "Don't let anyone tell you different." Her love was a balm, proof that family could be chosen, not forced. Months later, my professor, Dr. Larson, a grizzled engineer with a passion for clean energy, pulled me aside. "Laura, I've got contacts at the University of Copenhagen. They're offering a research grant in sustainable energy, and you're the one for it." I laughed, thinking it was a prank. Copenhagen? Me? But he was dead serious. "You've earned this. Don't hold back." I applied, nerves and all, and when the acceptance email came, "We're pleased to offer you a research grant," I stared at it, stunned. I was going to Denmark. I told no one except Aunt Maggie. "Go chase your dreams, Laura," she said over the phone. "You don't owe them a damn thing." I asked her to keep my plans secret. I didn't want my parents' judgment following me. With a backpack and a one-way ticket, I left, ready to build a life free of their shadows. Copenhagen was a shock. New language, new culture, biting cold, but the research was electrifying. I worked on projects that could power communities, reduce emissions, change lives. Sustainable energy wasn't just a career. It was my way of leaving the world better than I found it. Over the years, I earned my master's, then pushed for a PhD. The work was grueling, endless experiments, late-night data analysis, but I was all in. I'd found my place. After my PhD, the University of Oslo offered me a professorship, a chance to teach and mentor. It felt surreal, like a life meant for someone else. Standing in front of a lecture hall, guiding students who reminded me of my younger self, I realized I'd become the person I needed back then, someone who believed in potential, not perfection. But a part of me always wondered if my parents knew, if they cared. I hadn't heard from them in 15 years. No calls, no letters, nothing. So when I stepped into that gala restroom and saw Mom at the sink, reapplying lipstick like she hadn't missed a beat, my heart stopped. She looked the same. Polished. Untouchable. Every inch the socialite. I thought she might not recognize me, but her eyes flicked to the mirror, locking on mine. Her hand froze. "Laura," she said, her voice cold, like we'd just crossed paths at a charity brunch. "I didn't expect to see you here." I gripped my purse, steadying myself. I could say the same. "What brings you here?" She turned, her posture stiff. "Your father and I were invited. We've always supported education initiatives." I met her gaze. "I'm being honored tonight, for my research." A flicker of surprise crossed her face, quickly masked. "I see," she said, turning back to the mirror. "Well, I suppose everyone finds their path eventually." Her words stung, dragging me back to that night at 19, standing in their living room, invisible as they cast me out. The bitterness surged, but I held it in. She glided out, leaving me alone with the weight of 15 years. The gala began, and I tried to shake off the encounter. The room buzzed with elegance, crystal chandeliers, clinking glasses, murmured praise. When they called my name, Laura Bennett, honored for her groundbreaking work in sustainable energy. The applause was deafening, but it felt hollow. I took the stage, heart racing, knowing this wasn't just about my research. It was proof I was more than the failure they'd labeled me, a testament to every sleepless night, every shift I worked, every time I refused to quit. As I stood there, the host's voice cut through. "We have an exciting announcement. An anonymous donor has pledged a $2 million grant to the recipient of tonight's award to support their work in advancing sustainable energy and education." The room hushed, eyes on me. $2 million. The number was staggering, a game changer for my research. But something felt off. The donor was anonymous, unaware I was the recipient. My gut twisted, sensing a storm brewing. Then I saw him, Dad, near the back, standing abruptly, his face twisted in disgust. Our eyes met for a split second before he bolted for the exit, his steps sharp, like he couldn't get away fast enough. My chest tightened. This was my moment, the pinnacle of everything I'd fought for, and he couldn't bear to watch. The host continued, "This $2 million grant, made possible by TerraGrow Solutions, a leader in agricultural innovation, will empower the recipient's groundbreaking work." TerraGrow, Dad's company. The irony hit like a freight train. The man who'd disowned me, who'd walked out of this very room, had unknowingly funded the award celebrating my success. I froze, the applause fading to a distant hum. The man who'd called me a failure, who'd erased me from his life, had bankrolled my triumph. It was too much. "Thank you," I managed into the mic, my voice shaky, before bolting off stage, my heels clicking as I chased the only thought in my mind. Dad. I couldn't let him walk away, not like this. Not when fate had twisted our paths together so cruelly. I pushed through the exit, scanning the parking lot. There he was, by his sleek black car, his back to me. "Dad," I called, my voice cracking as I ran. He stiffened but didn't turn until I was closer. His face was a mask of contempt, the same look he'd worn 15 years ago. "What do you want, Laura?" he snapped. "A pat on the back?" I stopped, heart pounding. "You didn't know it was me, did you? You thought you were funding some perfect scholar, not the daughter you threw away." His lips curled. "I'm not impressed. You're still the same failure I kicked out. Taking my money doesn't change that." His words stung, but I stood firm. "I didn't ask for your money or your approval. I earned this. Every bit of it, despite you." His eyes darkened, but I didn't flinch. "You don't get to rewrite my story anymore." I turned, walking away, my pulse racing. I didn't need his validation. I'd spent years chasing it, but standing there, I realized I was free. The next day, I made a choice. The $2 million grant felt tainted, a reminder of the pain I'd escaped. It wasn't my victory, it was his shadow creeping back. So I donated. Every cent to a scholarship fund for kids like me, underprivileged, underestimated, told they'd never make it. I wanted their dreams to soar without the weight of someone else's expectations. Clicking submit on the donation felt like shedding the last piece of their hold on me. That gala wasn't just a night of recognition. It was my redemption. I'd built a life from nothing, a PhD, a professorship, a legacy of mentoring students who'd changed the world. Aunt Maggie called the next week, her voice beaming. "You showed 'em, Laura. You're unstoppable." And she was right. My parents' rejection had broken me once, but it also set me free to become someone they'd never understand. If you've read this far, know this. Your worth isn't defined by those who walk away. It's in the life you build, the people you lift up, and the courage to keep going. That's my story, and I'm damn proud of it.